Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Engler Journey podcast. Today I'm here with Sam Otte, a non-traditional student, but someone who has made a true impact on the program, and it's so nice to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to finally be on. I know we've tried to do this throughout kind of the last year that I've been in the program and then graduated recently, so I really appreciate you taking the time to get me on.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited to learn more about your story because I know you've done so much in Engler. And just to get started, I want to learn about what's your background? Like, where did you grow up and how did you get to Engler?
Yeah, so I actually grew up kind of north of Milwaukee in West Bend, Wisconsin. Moved here when I was about 11, so grew up in and around York. Loved the small town life. Loved being in York and being able to bike everywhere as a kid and go to the coffee shop or go get ice cream, or that freedom that you really had in a small town. And I kind of fell in love with being in a small town from when I was a kid and till now. And I think that's a really beautiful thing about getting to grow up in a rural place. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm from. I went to high school at Nebraska Lutheran in Waco, Nebraska, which is 236 people, nothing much. There's a bar, that's about it. So that's kind of where I came from, and that's what I really identify with, is that small town, that just great place out, a little dot in the middle of the country. So that's really what I enjoy.
Yeah, and I know, the small town is really important to the Engler program, the small communities. What do you love the most about those small communities?
Yeah, I think I love, like I mentioned, that freedom that it brings as when you're a kid to just be able to go wherever you want, have friends in your community and be able to see them at any point. That's something I don't think you get everywhere, especially growing up. Now I really appreciate the convenience that a small town brings. A lot of people would kind of scoff at that, saying, well, there's nothing to do in a small town.
Yeah.
There's not much there, but your choices are limited, but they're also all very close by. Like I said, as a kid, you can get to them. You can't always do that when you're in a bigger city, or maybe your suburb isn't designed like that, so you can walk and have that freedom. So that's something I really appreciated growing up. And now as I look for some place to go, whether it's a neighborhood here in Lincoln, we'll get to talking about that, or going back to a rural area, that's something that's really important to me, is giving that freedom to my kids to be able to live their life in a place that's safe, that the neighbors care about each other and watch out for each other, and will help me and my family live our best life. So yeah.
Yeah, and how did you get started in the Engler program? How did you first hear about it?
Yeah, so I am, like you said, a non-traditional student. So I was an electrician before I came to college. I went to Southeast Community College to start out. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with my life, so that's kind of why I went to become an electrician, because Kayla, my wife, actually really encouraged me to try a lot of different things. So I went to do that with Nissen Electric out in kind of Hampton and Henderson area, and that was just a great experience for me. But then I kind of wanted to do more and explore my interests a little bit. So I went to Southeast Community College here in Lincoln, which was great, and I highly recommend for other people to do that, especially if you know what you want to do. Go try a trade. College is always there. Those experiences that you learn there are going to be useful for the rest of your life. And I think that was a big thing for me as I came into college my sophomore year at UNL. And I didn't quite get involved in the Engler program. My older sister Olivia actually had really encouraged me to go check it out right when I had got to UNL. And I was like, I don't know. I kind of don't know. And then her friend Maria was like, oh no, you should definitely check it out. And so then with a little more encouragement from Kayla and a lot of other people, I was like, okay, I'll check it out. So I took the 101 class with Tom and was hooked. I was like, these are my people. They're after what I'm after. And that kind of sense of community brought me in. And I'd say like that entrepreneur spirit that kind of embodies all of Engler really took hold of me at the end of that sophomore year when I finally took the 101 class.
Yeah, so you said the 101 class was one of your favorite classes and an impactful class. What was some of the advice that Tom gave in that class that was most impactful to you?
Yeah, for sure. So 101, it's kind of hyping you up, getting you ready to be an entrepreneur, finding your passion. And I think a big part of that was thinking about it not as I'm taking this one big step, that's going to be my business. I'm just, it's not one big step, it's a journey. You talk about, Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea and all these stories of them taking a journey. And sometimes as you journey through this, things happen, you run out of water, for the example that Tom would always use. You run out of water, You got to decide whether to keep the boats or, tear them up and keep going. And just something about that made me think, yeah, this is for me. Like, no matter what life throws at you, you're going to have time and time again the chance to keep going. And I found that with Engler, and it's really helped me in my life as I go through my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. And I mean, the Engler program is all about people who build and partner and work together. And it's just such a strong, tight-knit community. What have been some of your favorite experiences in the program, whether that's like the trek or A40s, anything like that?
Yeah. So kind of as a non-traditional student, I'd say I didn't actually get to go on a trek.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of bummed about at the end of it, but that's just the way it worked out for me. But I was able to get involved in a lot of little things along the way, like the Essential 40s, the firesides, all those little things. And those were huge for me because I don't know if it was necessarily one specific event, but it was just the culmination of every single event, meeting those little people along the way. Part of that journey is like I've met so many people at each of these events that have all given me pieces of information or insights into their life or other people's lives that I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else. And especially coming from that similar background of, we're both rural, we both have that entrepreneurial spirit, and we want to make our places better, which is really where I came in and I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do, is I want to make my place better, not only for me and my family, but for everyone around me in my community. And I want to do that through entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I mean, Paul Engler, he's the founder of this program, and without him, this wouldn't be here. Coming from a small community, why do you think he decided to make this program?
I think it's because of people like you and me getting to get together, getting to make each other better. I like the Bible passages, iron sharpens iron. We're making each other better, and he saw that, and he likely thought, that's what I want for Nebraska. That's what I want for my home state. It's like, I had it in me, and I know a lot of other people have it in themselves. And if you can get them together, and then they can do great stuff. So I think that's a big part of why I appreciate the Engler program, why I'm thankful for Paul for starting it, funding it for hopefully the next generations to come.
Yeah, and I know because of this program, you started kind of a nonprofit, kind of a business throughout the program. How did that get started?
Yeah, so it started, my end of junior year. It had kind of been in the mix, kind of end of sophomore, right when I got into it. I was talking about it. I had all these ideas. You'll see I'm wearing the shirt for Strong Towns. Strong Towns, which is the national nonprofit organization that does a lot of materials and things that our organization also uses. So what my local Strong Towns Lincoln chapter is, or what my local Strong Towns Lincoln chapter started as, was actually just a Facebook group. And that was kind of me putting any word out there of like, is there anybody else out there who's interested in the stuff I am, who's interested in making the place that we call home, Lincoln, better? And sure enough, there were a couple people who reached out, and they reached out immediately, and they were excited. And one of those guys that I have to talk about, we talk about partner a lot, is Brent Lukey, who's here in the community. He does a lot of community engagement stuff. He's all over the place. He's doing great things in Lincoln. And he reached out to me, and we sat down for coffee, and we talked about like, what can this be? And it's kind of gotten to more than what we could have imagined already in 2 years of doing it. And hopefully it continues far beyond after we're done with it. And that was kind of our goal in this, is we didn't want it to be necessarily our program or our nonprofit that we were running all the time. We wanted to set up the area for people to come together to do great things to help each other as neighbors. And I think we've done a good job so far. There's still obviously a lot of work to do, but we're connecting those people, and you see kind of those at meetings that we host at different coffee shops and things. We actually have one coming up on the 12th at Reactor Coffee in Lincoln. At meetings, you just see people connecting, and they connect the dots of like, oh, you're doing this in Lincoln? It's like, I'm really passionate about that. I want to go do that too. So it's really about making those connections within Lincoln that I think fuels our desire to keep this going. And right now we're under the name Strong Towns Lincoln, so you can find us on Facebook that way or join our email list. But we are likely going to form a nonprofit called the Lincoln Alliance.
Yeah, so what have been like some of your favorite memories from the Strong Towns? Like, what is like an inside look for people listening about what does a meeting look like, and how does that all play out?
Yeah, so our meetings, typically we have an informal one every month where people just kind of go. It's kind of a casual coffee conversation. The coffee shop stays open late. You can come if you have something to talk about, if you just are interested kind of in this this making your place better, place making or community building. It's a great place for that. Our first meeting, we started off very organized. We handed out flyers, we posted them up, and we were like, maybe nobody shows up. We don't know. And then around like 30 to 40 people showed up. And we were blown away by that response. And they were all very passionate about making their neighborhoods better and making the places they live in safer. That kind of response from a community after we didn't have any money to do this, we were printing stuff off at libraries, in Lincoln, and then we were just handing out flyers to the different coffee shops and libraries, and to get 30 people with pretty much no online presence who were all very passionate and interested in this. And so we kind of snowballed from there and did another meeting here. We got some people to present on their specific issues. So our Riley, I believe it's Riley Elementary School, has a bike bus now, thanks to Joe Dower here, actually at UNL, and that's done really, really well. And we hosted a little event and got, I think, 2 more bike buses started up after that little event, which if you're not familiar, a bike bus is when all the kids kind of ride together to school instead of walking or taking the bus. And it's ran typically by parents of the school. They, blast music, they have fun. It's one of those things to get kids outside, get people in the community. And the more people, walking and biking around your neighborhood, the safer it's going to be with more people looking out for one another.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, I didn't even know about a bike bus like that.
Yeah. Not many people do. And I think there's opportunities for that kind of stuff all over the state and all over the country, really, of like little things like that make, your life and other people's lives a little bit better. And right now I'm doing that a lot in Lincoln, and I love that. And I think there's a place for that in a lot of small towns as well.
Yeah, so making sure that like all of our neighborhoods are safe and families are safe.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it. Another part of the Strong Towns Lincoln stuff is financial transparency for cities and towns. So this is actually a big part of it, and a little bit more of the nerdy side of it, which I'm very into too. So this has to do with different things. Like, I'm really into the financials of cities and towns. What makes towns tick, what makes them run, and how we can be transparent so people know what their money is going to. In Nebraska, you hear a lot about property taxes rising, and that's a hot topic that not a lot of people like to talk about. Another thing people don't like to talk about is how come our taxes keep going up and our roads keep getting worse, and yet the taxes keep going up. And so what Strong Towns does, and what kind of the parent organization, I guess you could say, of what we do does, is they do a lot of these calculations based on this neighborhood's not making enough tax revenue to pay for its roads, because we've built out this massive expanse of roads, huge, so everybody can drive everywhere. Now we have to repair it, which is very expensive. And oftentimes, like me or you, we wouldn't know how much that costs. And I think that's a big part of what Strong Town stands for too, is like we need to get these numbers out here, especially if you're in a small town or a rural area. Like, those numbers do matter, and we need to understand how we can make our towns not only safer for people to walk and get to school and go to work and do all these things, but also more financially resilient, so that we're not as reliant on outside funds to have to come in to build more roads, to fix our roads and that kind of stuff. So
there's a lot of different aspects to it that I didn't even know. I didn't even know about that. Cool. So, it's all about, safety, but also educating people on finance, like you said.
Exactly. Because it turns out that this safer, more productive building type is also more financially resilient. So typically you'll see this at like the small downtown of a small town, or like the Haymarket in Lincoln, for instance. This place is dense. It's got a lot of apartments. Not everybody wants to live there, but it's often the economic engine of any small town or any big city. This is where a lot of the tax base is, whether it's sales tax or property tax. And it's less infrastructure for the city to maintain per capita, or however you want to do it. The Strong Town's typical one is value per acre. So instead of just taking the total value of an asset, maybe it's a building with a huge parking lot around it that would have a lot of value, but low value per acre. So there'd be a lot of services needed to service that one building. Whereas when you have those kind of denser buildings downtown, there's that same amount of infrastructure kind of helping out that same building, but it's a larger footprint, so you get more tax revenue from it. I might not be explaining that properly. If you go to YouTube, you can just search up value per acre analysis. It'll come up for you instantly. I can do it. I haven't gotten great at teaching it yet, but we'll get there soon.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes. I'm sure. Yeah. Well, I'd love to learn that too, how that works.
Yeah, it's very interesting, especially if you're a nerd like me. So I highly recommend going out to look it up. And so hopefully we're doing some of that work for our Strong Towns linking group as well, to kind of show like, hey, this is what's making us money. You know, while these suburbs are new and nice, they have a lot of infrastructure. So we got to find a balance there to be able to fund our roads, because everybody hates bad roads.
That's true.
They're also very expensive to build and maintain. So yep.
Well, very cool. Yeah, and I love learning more about Strong Towns, but now moving to Engler.
Yes.
I know you said that you graduated, right?
Yep,
you just graduated this year? Okay. Yep. So I saw a picture of you with your son.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yep.
So I thought that was a great picture of you at graduation. I just wanted to ask you, what did that mean to you, and what are some things you would tell him about, like, the Engler program?
Yeah, so my family's everything to me. I'm a firm believer in I won't sacrifice anything if it means that I miss out on something important with my family. And I think I would, first of all, tell him that. So, you know, Henry, when you're older and listening to this, that's what I want you to know. And then I'd also tell him that community is a big part of it. You know, having those people there to support you is huge. I had that going through the Engler program as a non-traditional student, as having a family, working, 30 hours a week, going to school full-time, being a full-time dad, just working hard to do all these things. I needed people around me, and Engler brought those people to me. And some of my best friends I made through Engler, and they've helped us tremendously while we were, in a hard time of putting your head down and working hard. I don't think I could state that enough. Of the people that you meet along the way are everything, and Engler puts those people right into your lap, of just that's who I want to be around. That's who I want to be when I'm older. That's who've helped me along the way. And while entrepreneurship is at the heart of it, the people who are in entrepreneurship, especially in this program, aren't the kind that are going to be greedy. They're the kind that are going to help you along the way. And some of Kayla and I's best friends, lifelong friends, we met through this and really helped us in this. It's a big part of Engler for me. So.
Yeah, no, that was perfect answer to that question. And I also wanted to know, who are some of your role models in this program?
Yeah, I'd definitely say, the staff obviously are amazing, all of them. Like I said, they're so supportive. They're excellent people. As far as people who are in the program, I was on the exec team. So Liz, Sheridan, and Seth, they also helped me in, balancing this work, life, school. It's not really balancing. You're doing it all at once. So they really helped me tremendously by keeping me up to date on things, being my friends, and just being all around great people. I'd say one of the guys I met through the program, Cole Kalkowski, he was also just an excellent guy who I want to be like, and he's somebody I look up to. And I don't know if I always tell him that, but he'll hear it on this podcast, so that'll be good. Him, Alyssa, can't mention him without Alyssa Moser too. So I'm very thankful for all those people, and I know I'm forgetting some because there's. Like I said, there's been hundreds of people along the way who, whether it's at a fireside, Essential 40, who just give you a token of advice, and it goes a long way. Having those people come through my life has been instrumental in helping me get where I want to go.
Yeah, and what did you enjoy the most about being on the exec team? Were there any particular memories that you had from that?
So this time period of my life was very busy. I was, having a kid was all new. I was going to school. I was doing all this work. And so particular memories stem from me running in late to meetings. They're just so welcoming and here's what we're doing. Let's get in, let's figure this out. And that can-do attitude of we're making Engler better for the future. And getting to be a part of that, however small it might be right now, being able to be a part of that right now and watching that grow, watching things that we planned on come to fruition, hopefully in the future, like that's something I'll never take for granted. And I'm glad that I got to make some great friends from that.
Yeah. And what are some of the values that you've brought with you to the Engler program or have taken with you from Engler?
Yeah, for sure. I've always been a pretty passionate, hardworking person who, just from life in general, I'm a Christian, so my faith's very important to me. Being noble in my pursuits, I never want to wrong anyone. I always want to be helpful to those who come around me. If I have a chance to talk to them once, I want it to be making their life better. I think I brought that to the Engler program. I think I try to bring that every day, of just bringing positivity and being altruistic in how I live my life. It's not about me, it's about others. It's about this tough time we have living sometimes. It's about making that easier. And I think Engler gave me the outlet to do those things in entrepreneurship. Don't wait for permission. That's something you hear a lot at Engler. And don't wait for permission to be a good person who's going to help people. And that's a big takeaway, I think, is just like of unleashing your potential by not waiting, of just doing. Every person you meet, talk to them, be excited about what they're doing. I don't always do that perfectly, but I'm going to try my hardest to do that in every opportunity that I get. And I'm grateful for Engler for giving me the tools to be the person I want to be at any moment in time.
Yes, and what are some of your favorite pillars from the program, or what's a symbol that's been your favorite? Talking about values, pillars, any type of symbol in the program. Something like that has been impactful.
Yeah, for sure. So growing up kind of rural, not necessarily being a farming kid or a cowboy kid, I did appreciate just the culture that UNL has coming from a rural background. A lot of people that I'm become friends with that I've met are kind of in that farming background. They're starting businesses and that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not necessarily, but the culture and the way they act towards one another is just down to earth, help people no matter what. And that's something big that Engler has going for it, is this culture of helping people, of, when you're a farmer, when you're a rancher, when you're kind of out there on your own a little bit, you really come close with your community and helping one another. And I see that in all those people every day, coming from, not necessarily being a farmer, not necessarily doing agricultural stuff right now. That's a unique perspective that a lot of the world doesn't get. We have less and less farmers all the time. That's just the way it is. But those people in that culture, are often very kind and considerate to me and to the people they meet. And I think that's an important part of what makes the Engler program special.
So talking about the gallery wall, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, the gallery wall is all those people that came before me that have started something different. Most of them are stuff that maybe I wouldn't start, but getting to see what they did and their personality shine through, their grit, their aspirations, what they want, that means a lot. I think I can see myself in a little bit of myself in each and every one of them, and a lot of the alumni come back to these programs. And so, you see their photo up on the wall, and then they come back, and you're like, oh, you have a picture of doing that, and you're still doing that now, 5-10 years later. I think that's pretty special.
So I know I saw you at the Englers the other night too.
Yeah.
So what was that like, coming back and seeing the whole community?
It's pretty incredible. It's weird to step away sometimes because you leave this environment that's kind of very positive, supportive, and you go out into a world that maybe doesn't care. There are a lot of people that do care, and often when you present them with their idea, that's they're excited about you and they're excited for you. But the people here get it. Everyone gets it. Nobody is asking, why would you go do that? Like, why aren't you content to just sit there and not do anything? It's like, well, no, I have to. It's like, but there's something inside me that tells me I've got to do this. I've got to make the world a better place. I've got to, get my creative spirit out, whatever that might be. And, being there at the senior celebration and then at the Englers, it's just refreshing to be like, oh man, I can go back out there. I can do great things. There are other people around me who are doing those things too. I miss that a lot, but it's also life, I guess. You go your separate ways, but you come back every once in a while, and it makes it amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 20 years from now, what will you be most grateful for being in the Engler program?
For sure, connections. Like I mentioned, all those great people that I got to meet, and probably that attitude that I can solve problems in the world through entrepreneurship, that I can make a difference wherever I go by starting things from scratch. I don't think a lot of people have that right now. I think we're kind of in a time in our country where it's somewhat uneasy. A lot of people are against each other, and I think with Strong Towns Lincoln, what we've tried to do is show that it's not us versus them. It's us trying to make a better place. That's what Engler really stands for, is you go out there, make it better for yourself, make it better for other people, and do it with passion, do it with grit, do it with your values, and it will work out.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here today, Sam. I loved learning more about your story. You have so many things that you've done. It's so amazing to see that and see you reflect on your Engler experience. And I know that you're going to be creating strong communities for years to come.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.